Cheers to another episode of the Weinnotes Podcast. I'm your guide, AJ Weinzettel, on this journey of stories showcasing the people behind the wonderful world of wine, where we dive into conversations ranging from terroir, viticulture, to favorite music, superpowers, and more. Please enjoy this episode of the Weinnotes Podcast. Before we dive into our interview today, I want to introduce to you Block 55. It is a reservation and ticketed event system built for wineries by wineries. It replaces complex restaurant software with something designed for the rhythm of the tasting room, all without breaking the bank. Block 55 gives you the tools to create unforgettable guest experiences with simple, easy-to-use interfaces. It's everything you need and nothing you don't. Visit block55.app to learn more. Again, that's block55.app. And now, on with our interview. Blair, LJ, thank you so much for being on the podcast today. I really appreciate you taking the time today.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah.
We're really excited.
This has been a long journey. I know that you and I have talked via Instagram, DM messages back and forth over the years. And you're like, you got to come up. I'm like, yeah, I want to. And we're finally making this happen. So I'm super excited.
And so are we.
Yeah.
Very excited to be on here. And it's really exciting that you'd come and visit us. And you've always written such great articles on your different experiences in the Valley. So we feel honored that you'd come up here and talk to us.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it. So I have a little bit of a backstory to share. July of 2019 is when I started writing my weekly newsletter. And I kid you not. So every time I go out, I bring my little journal, right? And so July 28th, 2019, first vineyard, Bella Vita.
No way.
Yes.
I love it.
That's great.
That's great.
That's
Yes.
really neat.
Yeah.
So I know 6 years later, here I am sitting down talking with the both of you.
Yeah.
I'm just,
It's meant to be.
yeah, I'm honored beyond belief.
Well, that's special because, Bella Vita is obviously a wonderful vineyard that we inherited from the founder. There's only been two owners of this vineyard in the last 27 years.
Yeah.
And the way he farmed it and the things he did on this property, we're so grateful for. Still remained incredible friends with Steve Whiteside. And we often say we're standing on the shoulders of a giant. And he was a giant. And he farmed this so well. And great vineyards make great wine. And he really set this up to be a great vineyard for us, and we feel very humbled and honored to be able to farm it and make wine from this. And we just kind of feel like we're stewards of the land. I mean, the land will out-survive us, obviously. And so it's a point in time where he's passed it to us to take care of.
Yeah. I remember when I drove up here 6 years ago, I was like, oof, driving up here in the winter was going to be tough. And so to see it all paved and everything was like, oh, this is so much better. And I think I saw an Instagram reel or story the other week, and they're like, we finally got the paving done.
Yes.
And oh my gosh.
Our builder wanted us to wait until the building was practically finished to do it. And it was a long time driving up a gravel road.
I can
So we loved the beauty of it at the beginning. And then eventually we're like, this might be an issue. We better pave this. So good to have it done.
Yeah, very nice. So I always kind of pour a blind wine to start with. Can I pour us a little bit?
Of course.
Please
All
do. Love to have some.
As I mentioned before, say whatever you want to say. You can say it's yummy. You can say it's yucky. You can just say, and just go on. So
Okay.
zero pressure.
Okay.
I mean, I even get winemakers sometimes being like, I don't know. So, and the reason I do it is just for fun, because you just never know what's in the bottle and what's here. And I always try to find some sort of connection.
Well,
And
that's beautiful on the nose. We'll start with that.
it is, it's a special wine for me. I like this. And, there is a connection. And, normally I do all my research and everything to find that connection. And this wasn't too hard to find.
Well,
Connection.
my guess is this is from Willamette Valley. I love kind of on the nose. I love the pear. I love the citrus. a little bit of blossom in there. It really kind of typifies on the nose the great wines that are being made here in the Willamette Valley. I haven't tried it yet, but it's
Right.
beautiful, beautiful on the nose.
Yes. Yes.
Well, I have to say that to me is what an Oregon Chardonnay is, the beauty of an Oregon Chardonnay right there. Again, I'm guessing that it's an Oregon Chardonnay.
And that's fine.
So
And
that's
that's
what
fine.
it tastes like to me. That's very nice. That's very
Awesome.
nice. I enjoy that.
Awesome. You know, and at the end, I'll reveal what it is.
Yeah, you know what I love
Yeah.
about excuse me. You know, what I love about this is that unlike some other regions, you can really taste the fruit, and it's not over oaked. You don't have the double malonactic, situation. It's not this buttery. It's citrusy. You can really taste the fruit. You can almost taste the vineyard. It even has a slight bit of minerality, which I love.
Right.
And it's beautiful.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm
Whoever
gonna have some
made
more.
this and whoever's
Thank you.
vineyard
I have
this is
something to
from.
drink during our
Yeah, this
little
is
show here.
thank you for sharing this with us.
Oh, of course. Of
Yeah.
course. So in starting off, I don't have a time frame. I couldn't find a time frame, but you all took a trip to Tuscany. And then when you came back from Tuscany, you planted 300 vines of Sangiovese and Merlot in your backyard.
Yes.
What was it about that trip in Tuscany that inspired you to plant all those vines?
Well, I would say first of all, we've traveled to a number of places, and I don't think we'd ever found a wine or a wine region that we loved more than Burgundy at the time. Just loved their wines, loved the Pinots. We learned about it. We got very immersive in it. Loved
Right.
the Chardonnays, the Pinots that came out of Burgundy. And what I really loved about it is they were very into the sense of place. They're so intentional about their wines and letting the land speak. And I remember when we went down to this, the bottom room of a chateau, and there's like sixth generation, and the woman who owns the chateau is also, I guess you call her the winemaker. But I asked her, I said, I don't see a winemaker on your label. Who's the winemaker? She says, gosh, you Americans, you're just into celebrity chefs and celebrity winemakers. This isn't about the winemaker. This is about the land. We go up there, we harvest, and every vintage is different. And it's because the wind, the rain, the environment, how much precipitation was on the vineyard. So every vintage is different. And we just let the land speak. And I was very moved by that. I thought, wow, that maybe has something to do with why these wines are so great. And I remember asking her, well, if you were to do this anywhere else, where would you do it? And she said, well, we would do it in Oregon. That's probably why you have so many of us in Oregon. And at that time, we weren't in a mobile position to come to Oregon and start a project because we had 4 young kids. And so we wanted to I think there was this real yearning for us to do something from the land and
Right.
to create something from the land and get connected to it. And so this was the start of that. And it's very small, but it allowed us to harvest and to learn about the farming, to learn about how, if you use irrigation, what happens to your vines, and all the different things that I think it was a great learning experience before we were in a position to explore Oregon and other areas where we might want to establish a project.
No, that is cool. Did you think he was absolutely crazy to want to plant 300 vines?
Well, I think you mentioned our Sangiovese Merlot.
Right.
And no, I didn't think it was crazy at all. It was a
Okay.
great start, a great way to introduce ourselves to the whole process of winemaking and doing it for friends and family. And I think that then inspired us to go to our next chapter and to come here. So that small little project that we first did, a Sangiovese Merlot, was for fun and,
Right.
Also a way to make us realize how much we really enjoyed the whole process.
And I
Yeah.
think also one thing about it is just having people over for the harvest, having them do some pruning with us. We realized that it just brought people together, having them share our wine with us. It was a great way to have a personalized a memorable something to share with others and just create those memories. And we're at a stage in our life where I often say I got 25 good summers left and we want to make it memorable. and not just with the two of us, with friends, with families, with others to share what's being created, not what we're creating, but what the land's creating. And so I think we started to feel that, and it had a very strong draw to it.
That's amazing. So if I recollected appropriately, so your background, you were a big time lawyer, like all over I can't even, like your bio in that world, I can't even begin to even convey at all. But you also came from a family of lawyers. And when you were like, I'm out, I'm going to start this project, did they think that you're absolutely crazy?
I think, I excelled in the courtroom, and thanks for promoting me. I don't view myself that way. I excelled in the courtroom. I excelled in that profession. I think my family knew that this second chapter would be something that was very memorable to me.
Right.
A lot of them asked me, I didn't leave the law with this journey in mind. My wife and I, LJ, talked about it, and it was more about finding something organically that moved me, and not rushing into anything and being patient and letting that come to be. And so it wasn't 2 or 3 years before we even made our first trip interested in me perhaps purchasing a project. And so I think my family understood that I wanted to do something where I got back to the land, that I was able to craft something, we were able to craft something, and that we were able to create memories and a legacy. And my prior career, while I'm very fortunate to have excelled and I made some great friends, I enjoyed it, I also felt a sense that it was very transactional, which is, there's a time in your life, and I'm not being critical of that. And I wouldn't go back and do it differently, but it was transactional, and I was done with it. I didn't know if I created something that was a legacy, or I created something that I could look back on and be like, I shared that with a lot of people. I obviously, served an important role to my clients and in the judicial system, but I felt like I needed more. And getting back to the land and crafting something that, created memories for us and for our families, friends, and others, just seemed like the right direction organically to me. And it wasn't a set path.
I love the flow state. I mean, hands down, it is one of the best things I think in life, is just to be able to flow, weave and bob and turn wherever you need, because you just don't know where life is going to take you. And so you got to make changes as it just kind of comes along.
Yeah. I mean, we have
explains it very well about you didn't have any intentions. Neither one of us did when we left our careers about what that next chapter would be. But I had faith that we would figure out something together. We're both very type A with a lot of energy. So I don't think he could have just played golf and I could have just played tennis. I think we would have needed something else to do, and to be able to have that opportunity to build something together, as opposed to us doing our own separate careers. Raising a family, of course, is wonderful to do together. But building a business and building an experience really means a lot. So I'm super excited for that to start. We've done a little bit of that, as we mentioned before, with our smaller production. And now here we are with that option to share what we've built over the last 4 years with family and friends.
And I think just, having 4 kids, I like to tell them that where you start, maybe not where you finish. And life, like you said, it happens organically, and you get different feelings at different moments, and sometimes you follow your instincts, and it's a great thing to do. And sometimes it can send you off course too. It can be either way, right? But I don't think you should be scared to follow those instincts, and to if you're feeling like you need to do something meaningful, then pursue that journey. And that's something that we've done, and I tell you, it's extremely, extremely fulfilling.
Well, we spent the last hour, you just showing me all around the property and everything. And it's super abundantly clear that there is passion from both sides of the coin here.
Oh, yeah.
You love all the design and all the little intricate little details that have gone into everything that's here. you're also very clear into that as well. But like, you love the vineyard, you love all those aspects, and just bringing that together and the two of you coming together to make this happen is quite remarkable. And it's inspirational.
Well, thank you. We've tried at the beginning to do everything together.
Right.
And we learned pretty quickly that there was so much going on that we kind of had to divide and conquer.
Right.
And we just naturally fell into what we were both very comfortable and passionate about. And so I always say Blair's handles everything to do with the wine. I handle everything to do with the construction. But we come together when it comes to the branding, and we both share with each other what we're each working on. And I'll tweak what he's doing, he'll tweak what I'm doing. And in the end, it really represents both of our ideas coming together. It's not just mine, it's not just his, but it's also with the thought of the people that we're bringing into our space to share this with us.
April 10th, 2021, there's a nice press release launched announcing, Isabelle Meunier being your all's winemaker. How did you all come about Isabelle to become your winemaker?
Well, Isabelle obviously had established an incredible reputation in the Valley, and she comes from the same roots that we value, which was, Burgundian. She'd made some exceptional Burgundian style wines. In fact, I think at the time, if not today, she had made the highest rated Pinot Noir and Chardonnay in Oregon's history. And I could see why, because she's so intentional about the process. And I remember I'd interviewed a number of winemakers, and some of the American winemakers were reticent to do a native ferment, which I won't get into the details and deep dive on native ferment, but basically you're fermenting your wine through the yeast that's in the environment and in the vineyard. That's all you're using, no commercial yeast to speed up the process. And there were winemakers that expressed a concern that you could lose your whole vintage. And no one wants to do that because a lot of work goes into a yearly vintage. And I remember I was talking to Isabelle about the process, and I said, she was talking to me about native ferments, which I really wanted to hear about, really how I wanted to make my wine. I said, there's been some winemakers who expressed some concern about doing native ferments because I'll lose a vintage. She says to me, well, I've been doing this for over 20 years. I haven't lost a single vintage. So I'm not concerned about that. And it just kind of typifies she's an exceptional winemaker. She's exceptionally organized. She taught us a tremendous amount as we went through the process. She was very patient with us, which we needed. And listen, we were humbled to have worked with her, working with her and worked with her. And it's been a great partnership with her, and she's made exceptional wines, and she's done it the way that I remember when we were talking to her about the winemaking, back to some of my experiences in Burgundy, I said, listen, I don't plan to have a winemaker's name on the bottle, and I don't plan to have my name on the bottle either, like a lot of wineries you'll see. I said, the reason is because I want the land to speak. I want the land to be the star. And I want the wine to be the star, not you, not the winemaker, not the owners. That's not why I'm in this,
Right.
That has to be okay, because, winemakers can be like chefs and they can be celebrity people. And I don't think Isabelle had any interest in being listed as a winemaker.
Right.
And she understood what we were talking about. It's just, we're very intentional about what we do and what we want to bring. And that was a very important thing to me, because if somebody wanted to make it about them, it wasn't going to be a good fit. And Isabelle really wanted to make the best wine she can make. And that was in a very traditional Burgundian style way. And that really was a good a bond with us. And it's been terrific.
Yeah, no, she is quite something. And then, I don't know, like a week or two ago, there was the announcement of your Blanc de Blanc.
Mm-hmm.
And so that is a combination, team effort between Isabelle and Andrew Davis.
Yes.
When did you find out that they were husband and wife?
Well, I think we knew somewhat early on, but didn't know right at the beginning.
Right.
And we later found out. And so Isabelle was already on board. And, we started talking about the different types of wine. We talked about a sparkling wine, and we found out that she was married to Andrew Davis. And Blair inquired, and the first reaction the first feedback she gave us, well, is Andrew starts at this level, X number of cases.
Right.
And it was much more than we were able to produce at the time. And Blair kept bringing it up every single time we talked to Isabelle. And he was like, what was your line
Well,
to
I
Isabelle?
told her, I said, well, you have to have some capital
You have to
within the house. So can you exercise that for us? And she was a little bit non-committal, but over me badgering her to do this, because I really, really wanted to make a sparkling, but we're a boutique winery. We're not going to make 400, 800 cases of sparkling. And so the persistence paid off. And I just continued to ask her, this is something they would be willing to do. And again, very fortunate. And I don't know how many people would have done that for us. But the two of them not only did that, but they invited us, our family, over for a tasting of sparkling wines and champagnes and all different styles, kind of like a blind tasting to introduce us to the different styles around the world of sparkling wine. Again, going back to the fact that she was such a great match for us, because she really wants to find out what we want to do. It's not so much what she wants to do or what the consumer wants, but really what do we believe will taste best given this journey. And so it's worked out really well.
It was a fun partnership, and it was the first time that Isabelle and Andrew came together to make a sparkling. So Isabelle made the base wine. Of course, he did the next step in making it into the sparkling. And it's very fun hanging out with the two of them. And, Blair and I could go back and forth in our relationship, and watching Andrew and Isabelle go back and forth and just their different backgrounds and their preferences. And I think it ended up with an absolutely beautiful sparkling wine. And we're very excited to be sharing it for the first time. We literally just, labeled it just weeks ago, right?
So Oregon sparkling itself, like in 21, I did an Oregon sparkling report. And in the 4 years since, like sparkling is just like blown. At the end of this month, I was going to ask, hey, are y'all going to Method Oregon? But like, no, there's no way that y'all are going to Method Oregon later this month. But it's amazing to see that Oregon is starting to get on the map for sparkling. And it only makes sense. I mean, we're here, we have the Pinot Noir, and now, we're really taking shape with Chardonnay. People are planting some Pinot Meunier. Like, it's all just going to come together, and it's going to be amazing to see it all just happen.
It's really neat. One thing I think Oregon really has going for it is it really has an identity with varietals that some other regions don't, meaning they could, people know some of the best Pinot Noirs in the world come from the Willamette Valley. People know that we're now making some of the best Chardonnay in the world, and now it's gone on to sparkling. So it's really neat to see this region and just the prominence of these varietals that are really catching the attention of wine critics around the world, and for good reason, because there's a lot of boutique intentional winemakers and winery owners here that, in my view, are doing it the right way. They're doing small lots. It's a lot of hand harvest. It's a lot of hand sorting. It's a lot of intentional fermentations. It's bringing in the best barrels. It's not over oaking and manipulating the wine. So I really think this region is very conscious of the way they produce their wines. And I wish the way the system's set up is sometimes some of the top wines aren't able to really be consumed outside of Oregon or in the distribution channel, because a lot of us are smaller and we prefer to be that way, right? And my only wish is that, more people, they're starting to visit the Willamette Valley so they can see the different variations of the Pinot Noir, Chardonnay, sparkling. And there's so many that are just so exceptional. And so it's really neat to see this region, just since we've been a part of it, just grow and if not explode.
I completely agree. it's been very well known that you like to, stay up. So like 1, 2 o'clock reading and just diving into all sorts of books. How did you hear about the book, The Boys Up North?
That's a great story. So our neighbors is Jim Marsh was here, and I think if I may have my facts wrong, but I think he's like the third person to plant grapes here. He was involved with Dickie Rath. They were friends, and they're just right across the way here. You can see the red barn from the tasting room.
Right.
Legendary family. He's featured in that book. His children are our neighbors. Dave Marsh, Dave and Suzanne Marsh, Martha, her son Jimmy, and Joe. And so their kids are our neighbors, and we became very, very good friends with Dave Marsh and Suzanne, his wife. And we've gone to a number of dinners with them, and I've gotten a lot of advice from Dave. He's a phenomenal individual, and his wife, and he recommended that I read the book. I love history.
Yeah.
I love to learn about the area and what came before us, especially in this area where we feel like there's so many pioneers that took such a risk in this region. And so I really wanted to kind of get in touch with that and what they were doing at the time and understand the land that we're sitting on and
Right.
what the history is behind it. And so reading that book and seeing Jim Marsh featured in it, other, Corey and a number of the other just legends of the Willamette Valley, I think it just kind of centers you on, what their goals were, how difficult it was. And it's humbling. It's because they took a real risk, and we're benefiting from all the risks that they took and all the hard work and, the turbulent times they had to market this as a wine region. And, we're like we often say, we're standing on the shoulders of giants. I mean, it's incredible what these pioneers did. And so that book it's a great book. I highly recommend it. And I have to thank Dave and Suzanne Marsh for recommending it to us.
Yeah.
Let's get to your side of the coin or your side of the fence a little bit.
Absolutely.
I mean, everything that's here, you have the Idea Lab, you have, the speakeasy, you have the living room, you have the sky room. I can't even imagine trying to even plan this. How did you do it?
I like to think that it can be summed up by calling it an experiential design, which explains the design as well as answering your question, how it started. So the first question was, what do we want to do in the space? What do we want to offer our guests? How do we want our guests to feel? And that is really how it all starts. And the primary focus was we knew we wanted to have wine tastings, of course, but we also knew that we wanted to have special events, people celebrating birthdays, anniversaries, any milestone event, a corporate business meeting. And how do you do that at the same time without being disruptive to your wine tasting? So we didn't want to have to say, well, sorry, no tastings on Saturday because we've got this special group coming in. So the space is primarily designed so that we can have wine tasting every day in our living room and in our Sky Lounge. At the same time, somebody's hosting a private event in a different place in the building.
Right.
And that's kind of how it all came to be. And that's why I like to call it experiential design. It's about the experience that you're having in the building, and that is what determined what's happening in each space. And that turns into how you feel in the space, and I call that emotional design. And I want you to come in and feel like you came into our house. This is our living room. We've got the fire, we've got comfortable seating, we have a beautiful view. Come in, enjoy our incredible wine, take in the view, enjoy the people that you're with, and but feel like you're in the comfort of somebody's home. And so each space has that feel. And I think after showing you through it, you can kind of get that feeling
Yes,
from the comfortable seating and all of those different things. And going into our other spaces that have a little bit of a different feel and purpose. Our rec room, for example, with our billiards and our shuffleboard and our foosball and ping pong outside, and then our Italian bocce ball court outside. Those are also spaces where you can enjoy the space in a different way. And I'd like to say, we want you to come many times. We don't want you just to come once. So maybe your first time you come and you are here for a wine tasting,
Right.
and you sit down on a couch and you go through our flight of wines and you get to see the property and take in the views, and you leave like, that was fun. We want you to have fun. We've got music playing. We've got great views, good wine, but we want you to come back. So now you come back with maybe a different group or the same group. Maybe you go down into the rec room. We're going to have a bottle service down there. We're going to play some, some pool or shuffleboard, and it's more relaxed. You're hanging out outside. You got the music going. Maybe you think, wow, I want to bring my business associates with me.
Right.
And you can go down into our idea lab and you can have a business meeting, and that can lead into a lunch or wine tasting, or rolling into the rec room, or flowing outside to the vineyard. So hope that wasn't too long of an answer.
No.
So that, to sum it up, I think that is how we thought of this place. And that's where the two of us talked about what are the experiences, and the design of the building just followed that.
Whose idea was it to create a speakeasy?
Well, I would say, wow, I don't even know if one of us there, it is, but the elements of the speakeasy, I definitely will have to, the special feature of the speakeasy, I should
we'll
say,
keep that.
is all Blair, but
Yeah.
yeah, there's probably a joint combination. Again, thinking of a place that is a little bit of a secret, a little bit of something that it's not right in your face, but that would just be used for those special moments, and to also have a different type of experience in the space.
Yeah. And I will gladly say, like, if you didn't know what was there, you wouldn't know that it's there.
It is just right in the heart of the building, and you
Yeah.
probably wouldn't know it's there.
You wouldn't. It's like right there, and it's like, oh, okay, that's awesome.
Uh-huh.
If you know, you know, AJ.
Yeah.
Exactly.
If you know, you know. You're right.
Right. So I kind of used the word retirement when you came, when you were came out of not being a lawyer anymore. My wording on that is awful. I personally struggle with the word retirement. I mean, this project itself, it is not a retirement at all.
Yeah.
I would love, I'm on a quest to find a different word. And I know second chapter or second career, just one word, and I haven't been able to figure that out yet.
Well, I often think about it like sometimes people go through two stages of their lives. They get the mercenary stage where, got 4 kids, got to put them through school, got to keep my wife worked extremely hard as well. We both worked to support our family for many years. And, we did jobs at times were fun. I can't say both of us looked at each other and said, we're just following our passion. Every day is just rainbows and butterflies. We worked hard.
Right.
And we had to work hard. And I came out of school with 6 figures in debt. I had to pay those off. I made a commitment to myself that I wasn't going to get extensions on my loans. It took me 10 years. Actually, I paid them off a couple of years early. But I was, I was committed to paying those back. And so we didn't have 2 nickels to rub together for a long time. And so when we got a position where we could do something, I often call it like my missionary stage, which is now it's like a life of purpose. Like, what's my purpose, and
Right.
what's our purpose? And the really cool thing about this project is I get to do it with my wife. I get to do it with LJ. It's really, it's cool.
Right. No, that is very cool.
Yeah.
If I figure out that word, I'll,
Let us know.
Yeah.
That's-
Yeah. Because, yeah.
it is, I don't know. I just cringe. I have friends who are like, oh yeah, I'm going to retire. I'm like,
Yeah.
no, no, I can't do that.
Yeah, well, the one thing I used to joke with her, and I don't know, I may have fallen into the trap, but I used to tell her, well, I'm not going to do what I saw some of my friends do, and that's buy myself a job. And I definitely bought myself a job, but at least it's a job that we really enjoy. So I may have not followed my own advice, but at least I went into something where it wasn't selling widgets. It was doing something that really is been a lot of fun.
I can imagine.
I think it's part of, having 4 kids. They've taught us patience. They've taught us a lot of things. But it's, you raise them and you're always about making sure that they're doing everything right. They're enjoying life, and it's constantly thinking about others too. So I think this flowed right into that, is wanting to do something that we can share with other people. It's not create something that the 2 of us can just sit back and enjoy. It's something that we're working hard so we can share that with other people. And in the end, selfishly, it's fun for us too.
Right.
I can't wait to invite people into what I almost call our home and meet different people from all over the world and hear their stories and share the wine. Who wouldn't want to do that every day? I am so excited to do that. And that is, I think, what motivates us every day to finish this project.
Right.
And the light is at the end of the tunnel. We are very close. And, but that's what I'm really looking forward to.
That is awesome. Let's talk about your wine lineup a little bit. You have quite the labels. You have, coming out of the gate, 6 different, I'll call it SKUs. Share with me some information.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that is a challenge, we're a single vineyard estate, right? And so one thing that is a challenge of a single vineyard estate is finding diversity between your wines. So they don't all, it's not monolithic and they don't all taste the same.
Right.
So if you look at our lineup, the fusion right here, the fusion Pinot Noir, that's a fusion of the entire vineyard. So that really encompasses, we have 9 different clones on the property of Pinot Noir. So we have great diversity in our clones. We also have great elevation from 600 to 800 feet. And we also, if you see the terrain, the nice thing about when Stephen established the vineyard is he didn't grade it. So we have this, as you can see, looking out the tasting room, it's got this great undulation. So the way the wind hits, the water flows, these blocks all have different ripening, techniques and timing. So the fusion comes to the whole vineyard. The chosen is a 5-barrel selection of what we consider our best barrels of the vintage. The Renegade, which is really exciting, we haven't released this yet, but this is our first whole cluster wine, 40% whole cluster. But again, getting back to having diversity in your wines, when you have a whole cluster, you have, it has more tannins, has more structure. So it has a different taste profile, comes from the same vineyard, but gives you a diversity of taste. And it's beautiful. We can't wait to release that in the fall. We have the Beast. That comes from some of our bolder clones on the property. So we have some clones here, 777, Pomard, Vaddo. Those are some of our bolder clones. So those tend to go into the Beast. So you get a bolder on your mid palate. It's a little stronger than some of these others that are a little more subtle. And then you've got our Chardonnay, which we're so excited about. I only wish I had more to share. We only make 100 to 120 cases of it. And we're so happy to have that on the property. And it's great because when people come to the tasting room, there's people that like whites, there's people that like reds, there's people that like both. So it's great that we're able to kind of, if you like sparkling, we have a sparkling section. You have Pinot Noir, we have plenty of Pinot Noir. You like Chardonnay, we save that. So, we don't distribute. We don't really market our wine to retail customers. Between our wine club and our tasting room are fairly allocated, we believe, based on our production. Right. So, and we want to make sure we built this to enjoy. So we're not looking to sell out our inventory. We're looking to, create experiences with our wine here. So that kind of gives you a summary of the, and we don't plan to get any larger. We're 26 acres. We don't plan to go and purchase grapes from someone else and make this into a big operation. It's plenty to handle. Right. And it's just where we want it. And we don't aspire to be, nothing more than just continue to make exceptional wines off this single vineyard estate that everyone can see. And the nice thing about the tasting room is, and we have this golf cart that we can take people into the vineyard, and we can actually have the beast, and we can take them to those blocks,
Right.
where those clones came from. And it's about the connection, right? They can see the soil, they can see the clones, they can see the berries, they can see the canopy management. You can have a connection to our vineyard, where, as you know, some wines that you purchase grapes, it's fine, they make great wines, but it's hard to have that connection with the actual land it comes from. And we find that to be very meaningful, especially in this chapter of our lives. And we think there's a lot of people that'll share our wines, and they'll come up here and they'll feel a connection because we want to offer that to them.
And so my question to you, we found out that we have a similar interest of checking out restrooms and restaurants. How did you decide which labels to accent or display in all the restrooms?
Well, I like to think, having 4 kids, 3 daughters, everybody's kind of into Instagram. I like to think of Instagram moments. And I don't know why, but I thought that a restroom, or I should say I know why, would be a good Instagram moment. There's plenty of others on the property.
Right.
But I've seen girlfriends do it all the time. They'll stand in the bathroom and take a picture, or they'll say, wherever you're at a restaurant or somewhere, have you gone into the restroom? It's so pretty, or it's this. So
Right.
that we thought would be a good Instagram moment. And but coming up with what should go on the walls, what would make it Instagram worthy? What would make it something that somebody wants to take a picture? And I thought, if you're standing and you're looking in the mirror, you're fixing your makeup, or you're just washing your hands, wouldn't it be beautiful, right? Your reflection, to have some beautiful artwork.
Right.
And we're so proud of our artwork on our labels that I just thought, well, that is a good way to use it.
Right.
And so I went through which one felt a little more feminine, what felt more masculine, and then chose which restroom it would go in, and which would be subtle and not too much in your face. So I had to pick my 4 favorite and use them in our restrooms. And I'm glad you liked it.
Yes, very much.
Liked them.
Yeah.
And I'm really happy with how they came out.
That is awesome. And you're talking to me about the French poem on the lust.
Mm-hmm.
Whose idea who found the poem? Whose idea was it? What's the name of the poem? Like, what's the backstory?
Yeah. So the backstory on that is, I believe that we wanted some texture in the label, and we wanted to have just more. You can see the labels are very layered, right?
Right.
And so we actually thought about, and our label artist is Sean Mosier Smith, and he, we were kind of brainstorming on how to get that layering effect. And the neat thing about it is, we found this great French poem. And I'm sorry, I don't speak French. It's the name's a little complex for me to say, but it's this very romantic poem about wine, enjoying wine, and the romanticism behind wine, and the experience of drinking it. And that's kind of how we've always experienced wine. It's been a very emotional experience. We've had some of our best times together as a couple with friends over glasses of wine. Some people enjoy having coffee and visiting with friends. We love having wine. We just had it's a great way to get people together. We've had some of our best conversations. So we kind of wanted to have some, purposeful meaning behind it. And given that we are attracted to Burgundian wines, we find the French wines to be so elegant, and in many ways, we have employed a lot of the same winemaking techniques they do in Burgundy. We just thought it was appropriate.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I have some rapid fire questions, and I'll reveal the wine. I'll get you out of here.
Okay.
All right. Favorite artist to listen to during harvest?
Rolling Stones.
Steak.
Okay. Favorite indulgent food?
Sushi.
Ice cream.
If you could choose a superpower, what would it be?
Oh, I'd duplicate myself.
Okay.
Solve homelessness. Find a way to solve homelessness problem.
Be good. And then the last book you read? Or it could be like a podcast or Audible or something of that nature.
Blair, you go first. Probably something on Crime Junkie in the car for a long ride.
Okay.
That's what I'd listen to a lot of podcasts on that.
Last book, trying to think of the title.
Oh, you have
Sounds
a whole
like
bunch of
How Not to Give Fuck About
The Art of Not Giving a
the
Fuck.
art
Yes.
of not giving. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
The art of not giving
Are
a
we
fuck.
supposed to swear on
And
this podcast?
yeah, maybe I'm not, but yeah, I
F.
can. The art of
okay.
not giving a fuck. Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought that was. I thought it was.
That
it
is,
was a
and you
quick.
did-
It was
and you shared that
It was
with
a
a few
quick
people, yeah.
read.
Yep.
And I've given it to a few friends.
Yep.
Because I think it just there's a lot of things you can really consume yourself with that just really aren't worth it.
I agree. It's a great book.
Yeah. Thank you for correcting the title.
Oh, it's okay. I've read it too. That's the only reason I did.
Yeah.
Okay, so are you ready for me to reveal the wine?
Reveal away.
Please do.
Okay.
I'm excited to hear.
So I tried to find a connection.
Oh, Isabelle.
Of course, it's Isabelle.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah.
Lavinia.
No wonder we loved it so
Yep.
much.
Yeah.
Yep. Thank you.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's great.
Good choice.
That is wonderful.
2016.
2016.
Well,
Yeah.
she's a rock star,
She
and
is.
her own label, Lavinia, is wonderful.
Yep.
She's done a great job. Her and her partner have done a great job at that with that wine, and it's
Well, I was hoping I really didn't blow up by calling it an Oregon Chardonnay, and that's just what it tasted like to me.
And look at that.
and
you nailed it.
Thank you for sharing that. It was a nice thing to have during
Yeah.
our time together.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Again, thank you so much for sitting down with me today. It's been an absolute pleasure to spend the last 2+ hours here to get to know you more and everything that you're doing. I can't wait to see how many people show up this summer. It's going to be a blast.
Well, we're excited to have you back, as
Yes.
well as your listeners and followers, and we invite everybody to come and experience LucidWild.
Yeah, and as I said to you earlier, I think just I followed you closely in your articles and just becoming ingrained in the Willamette Valley, things you've written about and the stories you've shared and the places you've been. I think you've been a great asset to the Valley. And, it's a real honor that you would come here and talk to us. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you for joining me on this flavorful voyage through the world of wine on the Weinnotes Podcast. I've been your host and guide, AJ Weinzettel, and it's been an absolute pleasure sharing these captivating stories with you. But alas, like the last sip of a fine vintage, our time together must end. But don't fret, my wine-loving friend. The cellar doors of the Weinnotes Podcast will always remain open, waiting for you to return and explore new conversations, stories, and musings from the captivating people behind the magical world of wine. Before you go, hit that subscribe button on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify, and don't forget to leave a sparkling 5-star review to help spread the word. Until our glasses clink again, remember to savor life's moments and let the spirit of wine and camaraderie linger on your palate. Cheers, and as always, may your wine glass be full, your heart be light, and your journey be delight. Thank you again.